is accessible by air from around the world and by sea from the Mediterranean. Cairo is the largest city in Africa and the Middle East. The country was ruled by the British until 1922, but became a socialist republic in 1952. Egyptian history is documented from 4,000 years BC, and its name literally means House of Spirit. While the country is desperately trying to embrace modernism, its past is what travellers are interested in, and my Egyptian adventure began a few miles from Cairo city centre at the Pyramids of Giza. At an original height of 174 metres and built on an area of 13 acres, the Great Pyramid contained 2.3 million individual pieces of limestone, weighing between 2 and 15 tonnes each. This would make it the largest pyramid in Egypt, and indeed the largest man-made stone monument in the world. The Pyramid of Khufu was built as a tomb for King Cheops in 2640 BC, and it took 20 years to complete. Ancient Egyptians believed that people didn't die, but the soul detached from the host. This soul then travelled on a spiritual journey before it returned to the original body. The pyramids were seen as homing beacons. At just 10 metres shorter than the Great Pyramid, this tomb was made for the son of Cheops, King Chifrin. While it still looks absolutely amazing from the outside, from the inside, sadly, it's bare. Tomb robbers over the years have plundered the pyramid, leaving just an empty shell. You can still enter this pyramid, where the temperature is a constant 68 degrees, but you must also look back and imagine how stunning the three pyramids would have looked when fully clad in shiny limestone, as seen on the peak of the Pyramid of Khafre. Located here at the gateway to the pyramids at Giza is the Sphinx. Made out of one single enormous piece of limestone, it depicts the body of a lion and the head of King Chifrin. He stands here proudly, the spiritual guardian of the whole cemetery. After reading about these pyramids and the Sphinx for years, I was not disappointed by their size and presence, and was overwhelmed by the sheer architectural elegance of what had been constructed so many years ago. It's so obvious to see why the necropolis of Memphis is one of the ancient wonders of the world. In its quest to become a visibly modern and sophisticated capital city, Cairo now boasts a true ultra-luxury contemporary hotel, the Four Seasons. With stunning views of the River Nile, the hotel offers 269 rooms and suites, with a level of luxury second to none in Cairo. Of course, it also offers the finest cuisine, business facilities, and most importantly, a place to relax. Well, it's been a pretty hectic day, but it's nice and quiet up here on the 16th floor, and I'm really looking forward to a quiet night out. Quiet night out in Cairo? I think not. I was off to see a performance of the Egyptian whirling dervishes. Here, a dancer from the El Tanura troupe whirls round in a clockwise direction, symbolising that he is the centre of our solar system. His fellow dancers spin round in an anti-clockwise direction and represent the other planets, including the Earth. While it is intrinsically religious, the Tanura has become almost the national dance of Egypt. It's certainly fast and furious, and almost certain to put those watching it in a spin. Now, one of the few private moments I get while I'm traveling is a morning jog around the city or the island that I happen to be staying at. Today, jogging is out. Rowing is in. Yes, I'm going to row up and down the Nile. I hear it's very good for keeping fit. So let's go.
This dusty track goes straight ahead. The air so foul upsets the dead. I've trodden underneath my feet. Some are strangers, some I've yet to meet. They follow me.
While I have rowed before, getting an effective technique going took a while.
Until I arrive. Give me back the strength I lack. Stop the sunburn in my back. Beads of sweat I drown in me. Sting my eyes so I can't see the way.
I am so tired. Give me jogging any day. The Cairo Boat Club has, until recently, hosted international regattas and still represents Egypt abroad. It would take a lot of practice before I would be signed up.
That got me to this dusty track. I'm bailing out, I'm heading back. I whisper with my tiny voice. It's not as if I
Back home,
had the choice.
at
This
last.
dusty track goes straight ahead. It fills my eyes, it fills my head. It's gonna be the death of me.
Back in the comfort of my hotel suite on the 16th floor, I met up with General Manager John O'Sullivan.
John, what does Cairo offer the luxury traveller?
I think it offers choices. I think it offers a range of different restaurants, different historical sites. You're now finding new operators. I think you're finding new destinations. So you're having a situation either with Cairo, with Alexandria, of where you have a range of activities that you can do, which traditionally weren't really available to the luxury traveller.
What was the rationale about putting a Four Seasons in Egypt?
We felt is that Cairo is the gateway to the Middle East. It's the traditional gateway. And we really felt that there was quite a large frustrated demand for a deluxe 5-star Four Seasons product, which thankfully in hindsight has proven right.
I mean, describe what facilities you have to offer that other hotels don't have.
I think it's the Four Seasons commitment, it's the Four Seasons philosophy of where we handpick each member of staff and of where, you know, we meet you at the airport and we drop you at the airport after we have checked you in. We can micromanage every part of your process within Cairo. So when people are looking for a seamless, deluxe experience that they demand in other parts of the world, then we really can provide it in every detail.
Now, when John Sullivan is not general manager and has some spare time, what would you do?
My personal favourite place is just outside of Cairo, on the same plane as the Giza pyramids, and it's the bent pyramid in Dashur. Beautiful, relaxing place, ideal to meditate and just to sort of chillax and sort of see Egypt from a slightly more temporal basis.
Maintaining eye contact is the best way to get what you want.
I have never been a great fan of cruising, but I was promised that a cruise down the River Nile would be exciting and the trip of a lifetime. I boarded the Sunboat 3 at Aswan, a 75-minute flight from Cairo, and will be making a 3-day river journey to Luxor.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. My name is Aki. I'll be your tour guide during the trip. Thank you very much indeed. Please.
The boat offers a fully stocked bar and lounge, 20 cabins, including 4 suites, and all the amenities you would find at a 5-star land hotel. So far, so good. On the first afternoon, with guide and historian Aki Alam in tow, I ventured to the Temple of Philae. So Aki, to whom and why was this temple built?
This temple was built around 170 years BC in the Greek-Roman period, and it was built for a beautiful goddess called Isis. She was the goddess of love and happiness and music and dancing, and you can tell she was definitely one of the most beautiful goddesses in the entire Egyptian mythology.
I see that this was built for an Egyptian goddess, but I see the crucifix. Explain that.
You know, after the Egyptian history ended and these gods were no longer worshipped, the place was converted into a church, a Christian church. And those early Christians, they came here, and you can see the crosses that they have carved here.
So it changed.
Absolutely, but still it remained a holy place. Only the senior priest will be the one to be able to come here. He's the only one religiously allowed to be in this room, because this is where the spirit of the goddess lives.
And was there any significance of the light that would come in here, the sunlight or anything like that?
Well, these holes at the top, they were light holes. You know, there were hundreds of priests living here and no torches. It was the only source of light, plus to get the air in, to circulate the air.
That evening, before dinner, we hired a traditional Nile boat, the felucca, to build up an appetite for the feast and party ahead. After an excellent meal, the whole crew joined in with the passengers, and we danced the night away. You saw me rowing on the Nile in Cairo, but I bet you never expected to see me cycling on the Nile towards Luxor. A word of warning though, in this intense heat, any kind of exercise is murder. This relaxed cruising lifestyle was becoming quite appealing. Well, we've been cruising down the Nile for around 3 hours. I've covered 80 kilometers and have moored here at Kom Ombo, the site of the Crocodile Temple. Built in around 170 BC, it was dedicated to the crocodile god Sobek. It was used as a place of worship and as a hospital, and during excavations, primitive medical instruments were found here. In the height of summer, expect the temperature in Cairo to reach 35 degrees, where it's quite humid. Down here on this journey between Aswan and Luxor, the temperature will reach over 50 degrees, where it's quite dry. The only way to chill out is to either sit in your air-conditioned cabin or in the pool with a cocktail. Shukran Kareem. Yisahidkum. Very early on day 3 of my cruise was a visit to Edfu. Aki, we've seen the temples at Philae, we've been to the Crocodile Temple, now we're here at the Temple of Edfu. How different are they, really, these temples, and are they worth all visiting?
Absolutely. There is some architectural differences, plus each one was built for a different god and a different deity.
Now, if I look at all these temples, there's a lot of depictions of animals, and here, obviously, we have the falcon. Are all the animals that appear from Egypt?
Definitely, yes. Some of them have disappeared, certainly, like we don't have any hippos anymore. Crocodiles are behind the dam now, but all the other birds and animals are certainly available till today.
What was this a temple for?
This was to worship and honor the god Horus, one of the main gods. He was a falcon god, and he had many qualities, but the site was also built to witness a few ceremonies, like the beginning of the year. The birthday of the god would be celebrated here as well, and yet the most interesting ceremony will be the marriage of god Horus of Edfu to goddess Hathor of Dendera. The two animal gods will meet and mate to produce more gods to the land of Egypt. We are now in the sanctuary of the temple of Edfu, built for god Horus. This was definitely and religiously the most important room in the entire complex. And if you turn to the left-hand side, you can see that it is in a perfect straight line to the main entrance.
Well, we're coming to the end of our Nile journey, with Luxor only 3.5 hours away. But one highlight left on the river is the lock here at Esna. The boat actually has to sink 9 meters before it can go any further. This lock was built in 1996 and is just 17 meters wide. But you get from the high level to the low level in 20 minutes. But sometimes it can take you up to a day to get through because the traffic is so bad going through just this lock. I'm about to enter the largest temple ever constructed to a god in human civilization. It's dedicated to Amra, the father of the Egyptian gods. And what an entrance! 44 sphinxes welcoming you to the temple at Karnak. The hypostyle hall here at Karnak is an architectural phenomenon. Started by King Seti I, it was finished by King Ramesses II in 1224 BC. It contains 134 of these enormous individual carved columns. By finishing his father's project, King Ramesses II believed that he would become the greatest god, on a par with Amun-Ra himself. Well, during the evenings, people come up here for the famous Karnak Temple sound and light show. But during the day, you come up here and you just get the amazing spectacle of the temple. And I just find this whole place amazing. It isn't a wonder of the world, but you know what? It should be. Our final destination, the Valley of the Kings. As the name suggests, the Valley of the Kings was the burial ground of the kings and pharaohs of Egypt. There's also a Valley of Queens, a Valley of Nobles, and Valley of Workers, among others. This is the tomb of King Ramses III, whose temple to the god Amun-Ra we saw in Karnak. While the star attraction in the valley will always be the final resting place of King Tutankhamun, it is only in tombs like this where you can get a real feeling of how ancient Egypt's monarchy were laid to rest. It would have taken at least 20 years to construct this tomb for just one man, King Ramses III. Looking at the walls around me, the paint used on these intricate carvings depicting the Book of the Dead has lasted over 3,000 years. Without doubt, this is the highlight of my tour in Egypt. This is the stuff that the Legend of the Nile was built on. Until next time, from the Luxury Travel Show, from me, Varun Sharma, Ma Salama.
That was the last episode in this series of The Luxury Travel Show. Next Thursday in the same time slot, be sure to tune in for The Animatrix.